The Niger-delta has some of the biggest oil fields in the world. It's a dangerous place of guns and poverty, where people need development, and the environment is heavily polluted from 50 years of living with the oil industry. In June 2013, in the dead of night, a massive explosion occurred on a major Shell pipeline near the village of Bodo, spilling thousands of barrels of oil into the swamps. It was the 25th attack on that pipeline in the last 2 years, but the size of the Bodo explosion and its proximity to the very people who were supposed to have been guarding it made it remarkable, exposing the depths of corruption at the heart of the Nigerian oil industry. We went to the swamps in Bodo to see where the accident took place.
From the very moment I got to the area, I was suspicious, because I wondered why a site that should have been well protected, the JTF were probably 70 meters from the scene, because I could see their houseboat from the scene of the fire.
The military were within 70 meters?
They were at most maybe 100 meters, but I don't think it was up to 100 meters.
So clearly the military knew what was
They
going on.
knew exactly what was going on there. And then also, later on in the investigation, it was clear to me that Shell was aware that this was probably one of the most bunkered points on the
When you say bunkered,
Trans-Niger.
that means that is where the oil was being tapped off?
Was being tapped off because there is always oil there. And from the investigation, it was clear to us that Shell knew this.
What you're saying is that the company knew,
Yes.
the contractors knew,
They knew quite
the
well.
military knew,
Yeah.
everybody
knew. And
that this oil was being taken out.
And for me, there was clear complicity from everybody around.
But everyone has a different story to tell. Shell, which says it's losing 80,000 barrels of oil a day to theft, has stated that oil was being stolen in Bodo, but they told us emphatically that their own contractors were not involved.
The landscape has been destroyed. It's a very tragic situation.
In 2008, faults in the Shell pipeline spilt tens of thousands of barrels of crude into the mangrove swamps, causing total devastation. 5 years later, and people here are still waiting compensation and clean-up. They've lost their fishing grounds and much of their farmland. Oil has been nothing short of a disaster for these people.
This pipeline provides nothing for these communities. They get nothing. They get none of the oil from it. They get none of the money from it. Shell runs this pipeline. Shell is now saying that it needs to make a new pipeline. It's going to spend £1,500 million on a new pipeline to avoid communities like this and sabotage. If it spent a tenth of that money on the communities, you could argue you wouldn't have these problems in the first place.
But is your belief that these refineries started because companies like Shell never did the cleanups, never did or kept their promises,
Yes, yes, they had spillages from equipment failure.
Yeah.
They always deny them and they charge them as sabotage. It just spoils the environment. It used to be a pristine area. You know, you see the mangroves, see the trees, everything.
So this is what oil does in its crudest form to the environment. It destroys it. There's nothing left.
Royal Dutch Shell has been producing oil in Ogoniland since 1958. The Ogale community is now suing it for environmental damages. Thousands of hectares of mangroves, land and water sources have been damaged. It's estimated it could take between 30 to 50 years to restore the polluted sites to what they were before. Lawyers from the community claim Shell wants to delay Tuesday's hearing for another 2 years to wear down the villagers and eventually have the case thrown out.